Okay, now we have to learn the descending part. Descending part. Okay, what happened to the motor response? Okay, so we have been sending sensory to the cortex. Okay, now we have to respond. Okay, before I go on to the next one. Okay, so descending pathway, if you look at the name, okay, there is two of them, okay? Cortical bulbar, okay? Cortical is your brain, okay? Bulbar tract, and the cortical spinal. So cortical spinal, okay? So these are the two descending tract. The ascending tract, if you look at the names again, dorsal column, okay, and the spinal thalamic. So spine to the thalamus. The dorsal columns in the back is for sensation. Okay, if you look at the name, you'll be able to tell which one's which. Okay, so anything cortical would be descending. Okay, we've seen some of these already. Okay, prefrontal area for execution function, focus, attention. Motor speech area, we saw the Broca's area. You saw the Broca's area and the Wernicke's area, remember? Okay, descending pathway. Upper motor neurons is called Betz cells. Synapse with the motor neurons in the brain cell, brainstem. Okay, cortical bulbar tract, and the spinal cord would be the cortical spinal tract. So let me explain this to you. Okay, here's the medulla. Okay, it crosses over here. Okay, crosses over here, and then up. So remember the back, that's for sensation. Okay, and then it goes up. Now when it's coming down, it comes down. Okay, crosses over the midbrain. I mean the medulla. Come down, and it actually goes to the front of the spinal cord, which is the anterior horn there, the posterior horn there, anterior. It comes to the back, goes all the way to the front, and then it goes to your muscle. Okay? The neuron cells body are either in the ventral horn or the craniomotor nuclei, which will affect the skeletal muscle. Okay? So there's lateral cortical spinal tracts, control the appendicular muscle, arms and legs, ventral horn in the lower cervical, lumbar cord, spinal cord is largely represented by a greater number of muscle control in this area. So there's lateral cortical spinal tract, there's anterior cortical spinal tract, control muscle of the body and trunk. So lateral would be lateral cortical spinal tract. Anterior, it will come straight down to the anterior, cortical, anterior part of the anterior horn. Okay? So lateral cortical spinal tract, it's a little bit more complicated. Okay? Anterior cortical spinal tract, it goes straight to the anterior horn. Extrapyramidal control. Outside of the cortical spinal, the pyramids of the medulla. So, here is the pyramids. It will decussate, means it will cross over at the pyramid. So this is what they're talking about, the pyramid of the medulla. Tectal spinal, midbrain to spinal cord control posture. Reticulospinal, reticular system to spinal cord influence the trunk. limb muscle, muscle tones. Vestibulospinal, nuclear of the vestibular to the spinal cord, control posture. Okay, you don't have to know this. Ventral horn, where's the ventral? Is in the front. Okay, only skeletal muscle. Only skeletal muscle. Lower motor neurons are in the ventral horn with long axons. Okay. Oh, something I forgot to talk to you about. Where did it go? Okay, one more thing about here. Corticobobular. Okay, as you can see, it crosses over. Okay, so this is a contralateral. It goes to the contralateral side, opposite side. Okay, the cortical spinal tract, is called ipsilateral. It's directly on the same side. Okay, it doesn't cross over. Okay, so corticobobular is contralateral, and then cortical spinal is ipsilateral. And then we saw upper motor neurons. Upper motor neurons. So upper motor comes from the brain and then down to the spine. Okay, so here are some upper motor neuron. And then once it goes out of the spine, it's called the lower motor neurons. Okay, so upper means is inside. Lower motor neurons is once it's outside of the spine. These are called lower motor neurons. Okay, so when we see upper motor neuron lesion, that means there's something wrong with the upper motor neuron. Okay, you will usually see the limbs are like cramping, spasm. Okay, but when you have a lower motor neuron lesion, the signal coming from here is normal, but then there's something wrong here, so you'll usually have some weakness. Okay, things like that. Let's see, where are we? Again, the ventral horn, that's where the coming out where the lower motor neuron is. Reflexes we saw earlier is called the withdrawal reflex. Okay, you hit something and it's in the same, so you hit the thing, is in the same level. Okay, same level. It doesn't go up the brain or down the brain, nothing. Okay, all right, this is the last slide. And I know this is a lot of stuff, but we can do some review in the lab. Okay.